Good evening, students. Welcome to Aurora online classes. The students, in my previous class, I taught you that Mr. Loisel, Matilda's husband, has spent 400 francs for her new costume, for her new dress, for the grand occasion, for the party, for the ball. Apart from this, Matilda borrowed a diamond necklace from her friend, Madame Frustier, and everything was ready. And let's read further and what happened thereafter. What was the change? What was the tragedy? How did Matilda's life change? We shall come to know about all these things. So let's read further. The day of the ball arrived. Madame Loisel was a great success. She was the prettiest of all, underline it, elegant, gracious, smiling and full of joy. All the men noticed her, asked her name and wanted to be presented, underline it. She danced with enthusiasm, intoxicated with pleasure, thinking of nothing but all this admiration. This victory, underline it, this victory so complete and sweet to her heart. She went home towards 4 o'clock in the morning. Her husband had been half asleep in one of the little saloons, means room, since midnight, with 3 other gentlemen whose wives were enjoying themselves very much. He threw around her shoulders the modest wraps they had carried, whose poverty clashed with the elegance of the ball costume. She wished to hurry away in order not to be noticed by the other women who were wrapping themselves in rich furs. Loisel detained her. Wait, said he, I am going to call a cab. But she would not listen and descended their steps rapidly. When they were in the street, they found no carriage and they began to seek for one, hailing the coachman, means calling the coachman, whom they saw at a distance. They walked along toward the river, hopeless and shivering. Finally, they found one of those old carriages that one sees in Paris after nightfall. It took them as far as the door, and they went wearier, means exhausted, tired, to their apartment. It was all for her, and on his part he remembered that he would have to be at the office by 10 o'clock. She removed the wraps from her shoulders before the glass for a final view of herself in her glory. Glory means here charm and beauty. Suddenly he uttered a cry. Her necklace was not around her neck. Loisel, already half undressed, asked, what is the matter? She turned towards him excitedly. I no longer have Madame Frustier's necklace, underline it. He arose in dismay. What? How is that? It's not possible. And they looked in the folds of the dress, underline it, and in the folds of the cloak, in the pockets, everywhere. They could not find it. He asked, you are sure you still had it when we left the minister's house? Yes, I felt it as we came out. But if you had lost it in the street, we should have heard it fall. It must be in the cab. Yes, it is possible. Did you take the number? No. And you? Did you notice that? Notice what it was? No. They looked at each other, utterly cast down. Finally, Loisel dressed himself again. I'm going, he said, over the track where we went on foot to see if I can find it. And he went. He remained in her evening gown, not having the force to go to bed. Towards 7 o'clock, her husband returned. He had found nothing. He went to the place and to the cab offices and put an advertisement in the newspapers offering a reward. Underline it. She waited all day in a state of bewilderment, means confusion. Before this frightful disaster, Loisel returned in the evening, his face pale. He had discovered nothing. He said, write to your friend that you have broken the clasp, means clutch, of the necklace and that you will have it repaired. That will give us time. She wrote as she dictated. as he dictated. At the end of a week, they had lost all hope, and Loisel, older boy by 5 years, declared, means Loisel was senior to Matilda by 5 years, declared, we must replace this jewel. In the shop of the Palace Royal, they found a circlet of diamonds which seemed to them exactly like the one they had lost. It was valued at 40,000 francs. They could get it for 36,000. Underline it. Loisel possessed 18,000 francs which his father had left him. He borrowed the rest. He made ruinous promises, took money from the usurers, means money lenders, and the whole race of lenders. Then he went to get the new necklace, depositing on the merchant's counter 36,000 francs. When Madame Loisel took back the jewels to Madame Frostier, the latter said to her in a very frigid tone, means very harsh and rude tone, you should have returned them to me sooner, for I might have needed them. Dear students, the ball had arrived and Loisel and Matilda attended the party at the residence of the Minister of Public Instruction. It was a grand success. She danced very well. She was overjoyed as if her dream came true. And it was a victory. It was a grand success for her. Everybody took a great note of her. Everybody noticed her and everybody wanted to meet her. She was full of joy. She was quite excited. She was overjoyed. And then at 4 o'clock in the morning, both of them left the party and came back home. Actually, they wanted to come back home by a cab. Loisel asked Matilda to hire a cab, but Matilda was in a hurry so that nobody could see her, because she took off her dress. She had the wrappers, she had the cheap wraps, and those cheap wraps were nothing before the wraps that they covered the shoulders before the rich ladies. So she was in a hurry, and before anybody could see, she wanted to come from there unnoticed, so that nobody could see her. So somehow there was a taxi, and they got a taxi in the street, and they came back to their home by that taxi, and she was still very elated. She was still very delighted, and when she came with her husband, it was a great relief. The air of excitement, overjoyed. She was quite ecstatic. And then, before she took off her dress, she wanted to take the final view of her glory. She wanted to take the final view. She wanted to have the look of her charm and beauty once again. And when she stood in front of the mirror, she was shocked. She was completely shocked to find that the diamond necklace was not around her neck. It was lost. So she became very panicked. She told her husband. Even her husband was quite shocked to learn this about the loss of the necklace. So they started searching everywhere. He went to the cab. He went to the street. He searched out everywhere, but the necklace was not found. And her husband had to go to the office by 10 o'clock. But on that particular day, her husband didn't go to the office. He kept on searching for the lost necklace. Even though, not only this, after searching for everywhere, he went to the police. He went to the police station to register a case, to register a missing report of the necklace. He went to the cab offices. He went to the advertisement agency for an advertisement for the loss of the necklace, and even the finder was promised a treat for this, a reward for this. So they made all sorts of trials, and they made uh, each and every effort. I would say that they tried their level best to uh, get the lost necklace back, but they couldn't find anywhere. Now it was the time. Her husband suggested her to write a letter to her friend to give her some more time, just because of the collapse of the necklace uh, needs to be repaired. It somehow it had broken, but actually it wasn't broken. But her husband, Mr. Loisel, told his wife to write like this to her friend, so that they could get some more time. And during this time, actually what happened, that he had 18,000 rupees, and they wanted to give the same necklace, not the same necklace, they wanted to give it, they wanted another same necklace which exactly looked like that. And they went to a shop, and it was worth of 40 around, not around all, I would say, it costs 40,000 francs, and but it was available for them at 36,000. So actually Loisel had 18,000 rupees which his father had left for him. So, and he borrowed the rest of the money, and then they bought actually they bought the necklace exactly like the previous one. And then Matilda took this necklace. This was not the same necklace. This necklace looked like the previous necklace, and it cost it cost them 36,000 francs. And actually now what happened? They deposited the money. They got the almost the same necklace from there, and Matilda went to her friend Madame Frustier to give it back. Madame Frustier told Matilda, she told in a very rude, very harsh voice that you should have returned it earlier because it was needed. Thereafter Matilda said nothing and came back. Madame Frustier did not open the jewel box as Madame Loisel feared she would. But what would she think if she should perceive the substitution? Substitution means replacement. What would she say? Would she take her for a robber? Madame Loisel now knew the horrible life of necessity. She did her part, however, completely, heroically. It was necessary to pay this frightful debt. She would pay it. They sent away the maid. They changed their lodgings, means house, means residence. They rented some rooms in the attic. She learned the odious work of a kitchen. She washed the dishes and ran it. She washed the soiled linen, their clothes and dishcloths, which she hung on the line to dry. She took down the refugee, means garbage, to the street each morning and brought up the water, stopping at each landing to catch her breath. And clothed like a woman of the people, she went to the grocers, the butchers and the fruiterers with her basket on her arm, shopping, haggling to last so. So is a French coin of a miserable money. The husband worked evenings, putting the books of some merchants in order, and nights he often did copying at 5 sous a page, and this life lasted for 10 years. At the end of 10 years, they had restored all. Madame Loisel seemed old now. She had become a strong and hard woman, the crude woman of the poor household. Her hair badly dressed, her skirts hoary means dirty, her hands red. She spoke in a loud tone and washed the floors with the large pails of water. Pails means bucket of waters. But sometimes when her husband was at the office, she would still herself before the window and think of that evening party or former times of that ball where she was so beautiful and so flattered, means appreciated. How would it have been if she had not lost the necklace? Who knows how singular life is and how full of changes, how small a thing will ruin or save one. Underline it. On Sunday, as she was taking a walk in the Champs-Élysées, a very good, fashionable town in Paris, to rid herself of the cares of the week, and she suddenly perceived a woman walking with a child. It was Madame Frostier, still young, still pretty, still attractive. Madame Loisel was affected. Should she speak to her? Yes, certainly, and now that she had paid, she would tell her all, why not. She approached her. Good morning, John. Her friend did not recognize her and was astonished to be so familiarly addressed by this common personage. She stammered, but madam, I don't know who, you must be mistaken. This is what Madame Frostier said. No, I am Matilda Loisel. Her friend uttered a cry of astonishment and surprise. Oh, my poor Matilda, how you have changed. Yes, I have had some hard days since I saw you, and some miserable ones, and all because of you. Because of me, how is that? You recall the diamond necklace that you loaned me to wear to the minister's ball? Yes, very well. Well, I lost it. How is that? Since you returned it to me, I returned another to you exactly like it. I returned another to you exactly like it, and it has taken us 10 years to pay for it. You can understand that it was not easy for us who have nothing, but it is finished, and I am decently content. Content means satisfied. Madame Frostier stopped short. She said, you say that you bought a diamond necklace to replace mine. Yes, you did not perceive it. Perceive means to see, and perceive means to identify also. Then they were just alike, and she smiled with proud and simple joy. Madame Frostier was touched and took both her hands, and she replied, oh, my poor Matilda, mine were false. They were not worth over 500 francs. It is really very touching. Thereafter, as I said earlier, now the days of adversity came to them. Earlier, actually, they were not so well, they were not so wealthy, they had a very low income, they were to spend for 36,000 money to buy another necklace exact like the previous one proved to be a white elephant for them. It was out of their reach, and now this was the life, as I said earlier, that Matilda was a lady of high dreams and aspirations, and she was quite ambitious. Now what did she do? Now adversity started, bad days started, misfortune and misery started in her life. Actually, now she had to change her house. She had to leave her lodging. She had to change her residence. Now she rented a house where both of them started living, and she had to do everything for herself. She had to do the kitchen work. She had to do every household chores. She had to wash the dishes, wash the plates. Earlier she had a maid, but now it was not possible for her to keep a maid, isn't it? It was really a costly affair, and because they had borrowed 18,000 rupees, so they had to pay the debt. So in order to pay the debt, they made sacrifices, isn't it? And all these things happened. Even she started doing everything. She went out for purchasing vegetables, for purchasing grocery, and purchasing everything, and she used to haggle, she used to bargain with the shopkeepers, and she started saving every penny. Actually, even both the wife and husband, both the couples, both the spouses worked really very hard. Even her husband used to do night work at some merchants for keeping the accounts. He also used to copy some pages at some amount like that. So both of them really worked very hard in order to save money, so that they could pay the debt. And it took them 10 years to pay the debt. Now, after paying the debt, this was a great relief for both the spouses. But this was a big change. Her dreams were shattered, and now she looked old. Matilda looked very old. Her appearance had changed. There were wrinkles on her face. Her hands were very rough. and even she had become so irritant. Her voice had become rough. There was change in her appearance. Her appearance looked older. There were wrinkles on her face. Even the skirts that she put on, the skirts also seemed to be dirty. Then her hair also looked dirty. Means altogether she looked very poor and old. She looked older than her age, isn't it? And it's because of the pressure, it's because of the stresses that she underwent. So, but the relief was that both of them paid the debt. And actually, one day, uh, Matilda was going out, and she came across Madame Frestier, and Madame Frestier was on her walk with a child, and at first she hesitated to speak to Madame Frestier. Then she said- then she said- then she decided to speak it up, because she had already paid the debt and she had already given another necklace to her in place of the previous one, because the previous one was lost. So it gave her a strength to speak up to Madame Frestier, but Madame Frestier did not recognize her. Then she said, "Yes, I am Matilda." We didn't recognize. Then after some time, Miss Madame Frestier recognized her, and she was surprised. Madame Frestier was surprised to see such a poor appearance of Matilda. She said, "How is that? Why are you looking so older?" And Madame Frestier was a rich lady. She was still young. She was looking still young, energetic and attractive, lovely. But Frestier was looking older. Wrinkles had appeared on her face. So she was looking poor and older. Then Matilda revealed the secret. She said that it is just because if you are responsible for my condition, it is because of you. This is what Matilda told Mrs. Frestier, Madame Frestier. Madame Frestier was surprised. How is that possible? How am I responsible for such a miserable condition of yours? Then Matilda told the whole story. She told the whole story, that the necklace that I gave you, this is not the same necklace. That necklace was lost somewhere in the party, and I had to give another necklace in place of the previous one, which cost me 36,000 francs. And at least, so in order to pay the debt, we had to really make all sorts of sacrifices. We really worked hard, and this is because of the lost necklace, and that was yours. Then she felt pity on her, and she said, "Okay, I am very sorry, Matilda. I did not know that you had to suffer a lot just because of the necklace." And then she said, "Matilda, don't mind, never mind, Matilda. Actually, that necklace was not the real necklace. That diamond necklace was not the real one. That was the fake necklace. Even the diamond was fake. It was artificial one, and it cost only 500 francs. It cost only 500, not more than 500 francs." At this, Matilda was really shocked and astonished to get such a response from Madame Frestier. And then Madame Frestier took her hands, and she clasped her hands, both her hands, and and then the story comes to its end. So it is actually this the lost necklace was really brought a great change in Matilda, and her life became more miserable than earlier, isn't it? So this was a frightful disaster for Matilda and her husband. One thing is clear, that cut your coat according to your cloth, and this is absolutely true in case of Matilda and her husband. Actually, we should not go beyond our reach. We should not go out of reach to do something, isn't it? So we should try to understand our confines, we should try to understand our limits, and we should never cross our limits. We should not do anything beyond our limits, beyond our confines. We should never go beyond our means. And if we go beyond our means, we have to suffer like Matilda. So this is the end of the story, dear. Thank you very much. That's all for today. The chapter is over.